Hey, what's going on, everybody? God, it feels like I haven't been here in a while. Back out in the shed, and I gotta let you guys know it feels like a beer cooler out here. It's pretty cold. I've had the AC running out here all weekend, and thank you guys for letting me know that you wouldn't mind me running the AC when it is scorching out here. My hope is to run the AC when I'm not filming, turn it off while I'm filming, and let's see how long this thing can hold some cool air. Anyways, enough about global warming. Hey, today I want to share with you guys what I think is an interesting topic, and I hope that you guys will find it the same. And you already know from the title of this video, we're talking about being judged in prison. Now, I mentioned this in a previous video, the fact that while locked up, you're going to be judged for everything. Just like out here in the free world, people, they's gonna be judging you. And if it's already not bad enough, the fact that in order to go to prison, you have to be judged in the first place by a judge. When you get there, people are most certainly going to be doing the exact same thing, and that can have a lot of impact on the way that your time is going to go. So it's with mentioning all of that it's my hope that in this video we expound upon this topic pretty decently. And with that, what do you say we go ahead and we dive? I don't know what all that was about, little yoga right there, like Monday morning, let's get it. Head first up into this video. So I think the title of this video was something along the lines of 10 ways that other prisoners are gonna judge you in prison. And even if it's not, that's the premise behind this. Let's go ahead and get right into the number one thing that people are gonna judge you for when you get locked up. You already know what this is. What you in here for? What you locked up for? You giving me a funny feeling like I need to see your paperwork. Why are you here? You know, I want to throw this in here real quick. I've heard being at the higher level prisons and the fact that you don't ask nobody what they're there for. And because I've never been to the higher levels, I honestly don't know. But I know at the lower level prisons, yo, dudes is gonna ask. They're nosy and they're gonna wanna know what you're locked up for. If you're sharing a cell with a dude, if you're up in the jail with a dude, like, you're gonna wanna know who you're living around. Yo, what is you in here for? And I'll never forget my very first ever cellmate in the jail when I was getting ready to serve the 7.5 years that I did. You know, just my luck, I end up in a cell with the craziest dude that there is in the housing unit. And he was probably snitching as well, because everybody in there was. But, you know, I asked this dude, I was like, yo, I'm in here for drug charges, no craziness. What you locked up for? Me, I don't know what that head jerk thing was, but dude was batshit crazy. Yeah, I tried to burn down the house where my baby mama was and the kids was at because, I just wasn't going for that no more. Tried to burn it down. Gasoline, kerosene, napalm. I tried to burn a house down with occupants up inside of it. Sadly enough, he might have actually been the most sane person in the housing unit. I'm kidding, he definitely wasn't. But that shit was crazy. I was pretty, terrified of this dude because, he would just talk about this like it was nothing. No regard for human life at all. But then again, you got dudes in there for murder charges, so there's that as well. Not only what your charge is, what are you in for, but also, did you tell? That's another reason why dudes really want to see that paperwork. It ain't even so much that they want to see what the charge is. Yes, of course they want to see what that charge is. I knew you had them type of charges. Bing! But they want to see those court notes. They want to see those that sentence. 10 years, 5 suspended because he gave 5 to a friend. So what you're locked up for and whether or not you cooperated or not, I truly feel like that's the number one thing that dudes are gonna judge you for when you're serving time. And also, just as that could be a bad thing, that could also be kind of I don't wanna say a good thing, but it could kind of help you because if people think that you're crazy as shit already based upon your charges, and a perfect example of that is my cellmate. I learned that he was in there for being a little fire starter, and I ain't want no parts of that. Oh, you like to light shit on fire? You are crazy. But if your charge is crazy enough, that just might help you while you're in there. Or it might even get you some respect. And, it's sad to say that sometimes it'll be the craziest charges, like holding court in the streets, might get you some respect in there or get you laughed at because there ain't no guns in prison. But charges and whether or not you cooperated, definitely number one on the list of what you're going to be judged for outside of the judge in the courtroom, up inside of the prison. Next on this list, what's your fight game like? Do you have a fight game? What are you gonna do when that situation presents itself? Because in most cases, 99% of the time, there is gonna be a situation, if not multiple or many situations that present themselves where you gotta do something. Now, if you handle the first situation the right way, whatever that right way is, it could lessen the amount of situations that you have to deal with moving forward. And that doesn't just mean that you just beat the hell out of somebody. Maybe there was a situation that presented itself where a dude was, ready to give you the business. And you gotta be like, hey, yo, man, hey, my bad, I apologize. I didn't mean to bump into you in the chow line. And from there, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're soft. You're just, you're owning it. You don't have to fight in every single situation that gets just the least bit rowdy. But it's from handling that first situation accordingly and correctly that could prepare you moving forward. Maybe it's the very next day you bump into the same dude. Yo, I thought I told... You bump into the same dude now. We might have to be fighting in this situation, but immediately, hey, yo, gosh, I'm the most clumsy dude up in the prison. You know what? Hey, my bad, man. I really ain't looking for the problem. I'm gonna give you my cornbread off of my tray, and it's gonna be okay. Hey, anybody got a do-rag for sale? I'm about to be a rapper in this bitch. I had a great weekend. I hope you guys did as well. But what's your fight and bark game like? I got another video that I'm thinking about doing pretty soon, and that's gonna be like the worst advice that you can give to a dude getting locked up for the first time. And this particular thing that we're talking about right here, when the problem presents itself and you just got to go straight for the jugular, bing! Oh, you can't breathe, can you? Anybody got a match? I'm about to set this dude on fire. Not in every situation does it call for the Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather going the distance. My God, can you imagine being Logan Paul waking up this morning knowing that last night alone, single-handedly, you made $20 million. Shit, I am in the wrong business. Now, just like I said, not every situation, not every reaction needs a cause. Not every effect needs a, like I said, just like for the fifth time, not every scenario needs to be taken to a 12. But then again, maybe when that scenario and that situation does present itself, you got that bark game. Sounded like a little chihuahua doodle mix up in the prison. Little ankle biter like my dogs are. They literally will bite your ankles. They're playing, but they live up to that little nickname. But Joe, sometimes your bark game, you could be judged by your bark. Then, hey, yo, you don't want no problems with him. He's like a little pit bull up in this bitch. But then again, I've seen that bark game get muted. I've seen the muzzle get put right up on that bark game. Biggest dude get knocked down by the smallest guy. That shit happens. Next thing that you can get judged by, and this is gonna definitely start to expand upon our horizons with this, because just like I mentioned, out here in society, you judged on everything. In prison, same exact thing. So anything that you're gonna be judged for in the free world, you're basically gonna be judged for in prison as well. Except a lot of times that's gonna be amplified by the fact that you are constantly and continuously surrounded by them same folks who was judging you. Whereas out here in society, you could just be judged in passing, like a drive-by. Judgment, 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 judgment. He wearing a pink shirt, bang, 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 judgment. What do you smell like up in prison? Yo, if you got bad hygiene, that's already gonna be problems enough for you. You ain't buying no hygiene products. You ain't got nothing but the Lisa and the maximum security hygiene products. What do you smell like in prison? If you smell like Paducah, you're gonna be judged, probably with them DBs, because your dumb ass don't want to get up in the shower. I mean, the water's free. Just take a shower. You ain't got to worry about that judgment. Another thing, sticking strictly with the shower. What do you do in the shower? Where are your eyes located at? If you're taking a shower in prison like this, don't do that, first of all, because you're going to be judged. You're going to be judged. How are you walking to the shower area? Are you walking there butt, ball naked, seen it happen. You want to talk about a dude who could never live that down. Dude came up into the house. Yeah, I've been here a time or two before. This ain't my first rodeo. Hey, what am I locked up for? I'm a first-time offender status for the devil's lettuce. Speaking of which, July 1st, that becomes legal here in my state, Virginia. Yo, they have had to put into retirement early canine dogs. They no longer can do their jobs. And I'm trying to understand fully why that is, because if they hit on the marijuana and then they search the car and find a kilo of cocaine, well, that's dismissible, right? That's like, you can get that thrown out. Well, how do we know that the dog didn't hit on the marijuana, which is legal now? You got to throw this whole case out. But anyways, dude came up in there, yapping, barking. Yeah, I've been here before. Yeah, I've been here before. This ain't my first rodeo. And you know how he got found out? He got found out by that first walk back from the shower. Coming up out of that shower with nothing but the towel draped on him like a cape. Well, it was wrapped around his waist. But he didn't even have no drawers on up under that money. Came back to his cut area and to put them drawers on, and the dude that shared the cut with him was like, yeah, hey, whoa, hey, what the, whoa, hey, what's up with all this? What's up with all, why ain't you got no boxes on? Why you coming out here in your birthday suit? You ain't never been here before. Give me all your commissary. But your hygiene and what you smell like, you can certainly be judged by that while locked up. You know, real quick, I want to throw this in here as well. Somebody had made a comment in a recent video that said, Joe, you're not funny. You try so hard to be funny, but you're not funny. And I want to mention that real quick. I am funny. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, nothing is off the table in terms of what you can be judged for in prison. What are you watching on television while locked up? You know, at some prisons, a lot of places, you can have your own personal TV. And there's nothing like walking by a bunk area watching a dude watch Disney Channel. Ain't no Disney Plus up in prison. How you even get the Disney Channel up in here? Why they even got the Disney Channel up in prison? Interesting footnote to this. I was locked up at Haynesville level 2. Rumor about Haynesville, they had a high population of sex offenders there. I hated thinking that and hearing that. Yo, did you hear that there's a sign out front that says like 60% of the prisoners here are SOs? But they had the best cable television of any place that I'd been. Best air conditioning and best rec. Rec all day, AC on 60, and cable channels 80 plus, including Disney. At a prison with such a high population of SOs, were they supplying the habits of these sickos? But anyways, it's enough to make you wonder for sure. Ain't nothing like walking by a dude's bunk area and seeing him watching something that is super sus. Law and Order SVU. Why in the world would you watch a show completely about a bathing rape? I mean, ape. That's a clothesline too, just in case anybody didn't know where I was going with that. You know, you might wonder, you might already have these premeditated judgments about an individual like, yo, that dude right there, and then it's walking by the bunk area seeing what they're watching on TV that solidifies it for you. I knew it. He ain't just watching that show for Benson and Stabler, who just came back. I haven't watched it though. I hear that it's good, but I don't particularly like it, just to be honest. Next thing on this list, coming in at number what, like 5 possibly? I lost track. What do you do in prison? What are you doing with your time? How are you passing your time? How are you bidding? Are you bidding off of like reading Harry Potter books? Because if you are, you soft. I don't get, like, it doesn't go together like vodka and milk. You're not gonna see the biggest, baddest dude watching or reading no Harry Potter. That shit ain't gangster. The most least gangster things that you can do in prison. Coming soon. We just did the most least gangster snack ideas. But read! Ain't nobody got time for a book. I'm trying to curl that money and make me a weight bag or a water bag out that money. I'm kidding. A lot of guys actually do read. But what are you reading? How to not be an SO, you know? Maybe you're reading something that's probably deemed Well, just not good in general. But forget the books, because a lot of dudes are trying to better themselves, educate themselves, self-help themselves, teach themselves. So reading is definitely an okay thing to do to pass the time. You could be judged by what you're reading, so that was the only reason I even mentioned that. But there's other things too, like sleep all day, go on a prison date all day, look at crazy, nefarious material all day. I'll tell you a perfect example of a dude that I judged to the max. Bang, 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 blew his top off with the judgment. Paga with the 90 cal. So there was this older black gentleman at a level 1 work center that I was at, who, whenever he wasn't at work, and I didn't work with this dude, I never even saw this dude except for when he was in the building, and anytime that he would be in the building, he would be sitting on his top bunk, feet dangling over the bunk, looking at a Sears catalog, and his eyeballs would be protruding out of his head every time that he turned the page. And he did this all of the time. Now, folks, you got to know that the Sears catalog was the false bottom, and what was really up inside of that was some kind of prison date material. But yo, every time I would see this dude, that's all he would be doing is looking at that stuff. And I'm like, oh, my God, something ain't right about this dude. Never held no conversation with him, and I couldn't, because I already had that judgment. Was I right for that? He could have been a great guy. He might have been involved in the church. He probably was. But that alone let me know that this dude was super sus. At least that's the way that I judged him. Convicted, found guilty, all that shit. Ain't no hung jury up in here. Which, moving right into another one, I didn't even include this one, but I definitely should have. I titled this probably the top 10 or 10 things that you could be judged for in prison, but there's probably more than that in this video, maybe like 12. But another thing, like, who are you hanging out with in prison? Perfect example. If there was somebody that I talked to, like I thought they were an okay person, hey, what's up? Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about tattoos, whatever. And then I saw them hanging out with that dude, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know that I would judge them necessarily that tough, but it'll make you wonder, like, why are you hanging out with that dude? Maybe he's your #1 customer and your hustle is the prison date material. You never know, but judgment's definitely gonna come from who you hang out with. You're not gonna be wanting to hang out with a dude who's getting extorted in prison. I had that shit happen when I was locked up. I've shared it before, I'll share it again. I was at receiving. I got approached by all of the different varieties. It was like a little variety pack of the cereal. Gang members. You had like 2 Crips, a Blood dude, an MS-13 dude, all in cahoots. Cahoots. That's a great word right there. Up inside of the housing unit, but supposedly on the rec yard, hey, we're at war with each other, right? But because they didn't have enough numbers inside the housing unit, they would work together to extort. So of course the white dudes were the #1 targets, but anybody could get it. So they came up to me, hey yo, I do tattoos, I ain't got no money. Boom, that saved me up in there. I was Gucci. So here comes this big burly white dude with this whole city scene tattooed on his throat right there, looking like a GD version of Brock Lesnar. Dude comes up in there and I'm like, hey, yo, stickman, excuse me, fellow patron of this fine establishment. I'd like to inform you, possibly warn you, bars. Yo, if you go to commissary up in here, just be careful. Just be careful. The waters are a little treacherous. There's a current. It might sweep you away along with all your commissary. Yo, I ain't worried about that at all. I ain't worried about that. I immediately judged this dude like, my God, we got Thor up in this motherfucker. Or possibly somebody who rocks with Thor's hammer, isn't that? But I was like, yo, hell yeah, man, dude built like that for real. Immediately judged this dude like that. I went to an AA meeting, an NA meeting just to have something to do. I didn't even have a problem, okay? Like, who's drinking in prison like that they need AA? But unless you're in there for your 4th DUI. But anyways, I came back from this meeting and all the dudes that were coming up out of this dude's cell had his shoes, had his commissary, and dude came out looking like one of them Sarah McLachlan rescue animals. In the arms of the angel, fly away with me. You know. This dude tried to come sit down next to me. It was movie night up in the prison. They used to play new release movies. Prison used to be sweet. Not no more though, not no more. Don't go to prison now. Back in my day, it was okay. It was the thing to do. Not no more though. They changing it all up. Dude came and tried to sit down next to me, and I judged this dude with the 45. Bing, 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 as I was sliding my chair away from that dude. You ain't about to sit next to me. Whee! Hey, yo, why didn't you help? Boy, I don't know you from nothing. I'm trying to watch this movie. Turn the back to you. Movie night. Shit, I don't get down with none of that. Sadly enough, you can be judged just upon the way that you look. Do you look like that? You don't look like that for real, right? I mean, you look the part that had them type of charges. Or you could look like the biggest, meanest, toughest guy. Like, dude sitting way over there. He was just sitting right next to me. He ain't sitting next to me no more. But you could look like the biggest, toughest dude that ain't gonna have no problems. You could look like that Bart game and that fight game gonna be like that. And unfortunately, I misjudged your sorry ass. You soft as some Charmin toilet tissue. They just wiped their whole ass with you. Nah, I ain't got no soup. What I look like, a store box? And just like out here in the free world, they're gonna judge you, or certain people will judge you. Anybody can get it, but you can be judged by the way that you look. Do you look professional? I look professional from the waist up, not gonna lie. I got me some super suspect shorts on and some shoes that look like I'm homeless. You can be judged for the way that you look. My feet probably stink too, and I just took a shower. See, you might judge me saying that, damn, Joe, just based upon them shoes, right? You know, you think I'm lying too. Let me lift up the knees so you see I ain't lying about the shorts. A lot of leg game. I was gonna save this for OnlyFans, but anybody can get it. Yeah, see, they might look extra crispy because there's a lot of light right now, but trust me when I tell you, just based upon that, and maybe upon that, ooh, what's that dookie right there? Did these join? Oh! Holy oh my God, that just made my tooth that got the root canal start tingling. Sometimes that judgment can be right on the money. Another thing they're gonna judge you for up in prison, what's your money like? Do you got money? What are you doing with your money? You going to commissary? Are you looking out for the cookout? Who are you friends with? Are you protected? Are you paying for protection? But it's not always just like that. Like if you got money, you could put on. And then there's a song and dance that goes along with that too. Yeah, single engine prop Cessnas out there and George Young, like that movie Blow. But you just got that girl sending that to you. And really out there, your shoes look worse than mine did. Don't let them people see what they dressing you back out in your street clothes when you get released. Damn, I thought you said you were living like Lil Yachty out here. God bless it. You need a bus ticket? You need a meal voucher? My goodness, you look stranded. But if you got money in prison, like that judgment could be one of two ways. It could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. It could be a bad thing in the sense that it could potentially bring you problems. Dudes want to try to extort you like big Brock Lesnar. Thug life for life, Brock Lesnar at that. I think he actually started a Bible study after that incident took place. Yeah, he turned to the Lord. Or it could help you sell the lie that, you was a kingpin out there, because most everybody who is locked up, they were just that. Now, weren't they? Or at least they're going to say that they were. Oh, yeah, I'm making $50 a week. That shit ain't nothing. Yo, your girl just went and had to go pawn your PS4 that you left at her house just to be able to send you that money. I'm gonna go home, be mad as a bitch. Yo, where my PS4 at? Get a job. Ain't nobody got time for that. Not in 2021, they don't. No, they don't now, do they? Another thing you can be judged for, that hustle game. What are you doing in prison? And this is gonna go more toward, how you're passing your time, but do you have a hustle? We had mentioned this in a previous video that, if you're not the biggest, strongest, toughest dude, your fight game, you're not really trying to live your life stabbing up folks while serving time. If you've got a hustle that makes you a necessity in prison, you don't have to be one of these in-the-way dudes. You stay in your lane, you do your time, and you got you a hustle. And it doesn't have to be like the tattoo artist or the dude making the pruno. You could be washing drawers. You could be washing dishes. Or you could just be working your prison job, going up into the kitchen, smuggling shit back. If you are a useful prisoner of necessity, you have something, a service, and I'm not talking about service, that's needed up in the prison, oftentimes your time's gonna be okay. Hey, yo, leave him alone. That dude be washing my stinking ass socks. Yeah, y'all mess with Jay Smooth. He be washing drawers and shit in prison. Actually, never did that. Never had to, surprisingly. But you can definitely be judged on the hustle. What is your story like? Another judgeable offense. You know, everybody's got a story. A lot of times it's a sob story. It could potentially be a I ain't do nothing type of a story, or it could be kilos, single prop Cessnas, where dudes just don't believe it. Man, this dude's sitting here selling this same dream that he was some kind of a kingpin out of one of these hood books that he read. When I saw this dude getting dressed back out into his street clothes to come to prison, and this dude looked like the Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz. Yeah, straw all in his hat. He ain't have it like that out there. But some dude's story could be so good that they are judged in such a way that they are idolized. We're talking about fist up under the chin, laying on your belly, which you shouldn't do in prison, especially if you don't trust your cellie, kicking your feet up like we're sitting around a campfire telling stories. Some dudes can be idolized in prison just based upon the story alone, and it ain't got to be true. And if the story isn't true, especially, let's move on to the last thing that I have on this list, and that is your larceny. Something that you could certainly be judged on. How much of a liar are you in prison? Larceny is a theft charge, but it's also a prison term that refers to just how much of a lies. Yo, that dude has nothing but larceny with him, which means he's a compulsive liar. You can be judged upon that, just like everything else. I'm sure there's some things that I didn't mention on this list, and if there's some things that you can think of that you'll certainly be judged by and for while in prison, please comment down below and let us all know. I also hope that this was a video that you guys enjoyed, and if it was, please leave a like on this, and as always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never get locked up to have to find out about all of these things that you will be judged by, and make the most of every day. Peace!